Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Chat GPT to create a Spring Boot CRUD project. Here we are not going to do a single line of code. Everything will be done by Chat GPT itself. So let's get started. So let me go to the browser and log into the Chat GPT first. So let me search for the Chat GPT login, and here you can see Chat GPT openapi.com, and then you can log in here. So first of all, you need to create a account for the chat gpt. If you don't have, you can directly go and log in with the Google account. So let me log in. Okay, so it is logged in. Now we have the account of chat gpt, and here you can see this is the chatbot where you can ask your queries. So let me try to search for how we can create a simple spring boot project. So let me try to ask chat gpt for that. So create a Spring Boot project, Spring Boot CRUD project. Okay. So let's say what is saying. It's saying, I'm sorry, but I am a language model, do not have a ability to create a Spring Boot project for you. However, I can provide you with some general step to create a Spring Boot CRUD project. So it is telling you all the steps that you need to do in order to create a Spring Boot CRUD project. So here it has told you to install some IDE. Either you can install the STS or IntelliJ or anything. Go to the Spring Starter project, and you need some dependency like JPA dependency, Spring Web dependency. You need to create the entities. You need to connect with the database, and then you need to create your controller. So every step it has mentioned here what you need to do. So it is not going to create a project for us because it has not access to our local. So let me try to go to the IntelliJ and create a project. So go file and then new. Let's say chat GPT CRUD project, something like that. Chat GPT Spring CRUD project, something like that. Okay. Let me try to go next. And it has mentioned about some dependency, right? So in order to create a Spring Boot CRUD project, you need to include those dependency. So first of all, we need to include the Spring Web. And if you are using, let's say MySQL database, you need to include that. And let me try to include the JPA. Okay. And then let me try to include the Lombok as well for our convenience. Okay, so let me create this project now. Let me open in a new window. It will take few seconds to download all the dependencies. You can see it is resolving my one dependencies. So let's get done. Let me go to the browser and then let me try to ask the new question. So in order to create a Spring Boot project, it has showed you the steps. You need to install the STS. You have to create one project, and then you have to include this dependency there. Now it has told you to create entities. So let me try to ask him. So let's say we are going to create a Spring Boot CRUD project for the student. So let me create a student entity here. So ask ChatGPT create a student entity for above project. Okay, let's say what is saying. Okay, it is taking few seconds. So here is an example of what a student entity class for the Spring Boot CRUD project might look like. So it is doing all the codes that you need to do in order to create a entity class. So let's say you can see it is generating the ID, first name, last name, and email. It's also generating some constructor. Okay, So if you're not using Lombok, you can use this, but I'm using Lombok, so I'm not going to keep the getter and setter for us. So let it generate, and then we'll try to copy it and then paste it there. Yeah, it is generating everything. To string, ID, first name, last name, email would be there. Yeah. So you can also see it is also explaining you what is that, what is at the rate annotation, what is table, what is generated value, what is ID column. So every annotation that it had used, it is also explaining about them. So let me copy this code. Okay, let me go to the, let me minimize this. Let me go to the source, main, Java, and let me try to create a package entity. And let me try to create one class student. New class student. Okay. Now let me try to add this, and let me try to paste the code that we have copied from there. And we need to include these dependencies here. So let me try to do that. Import it. Import the table. Okay, now we need to import this ID. We need to import the generated value, generation type. Okay, everything is done. Okay, let me try to remove this. So we are good now. So you can see we have not written a single line of code here, and everything is done by the chat GPT itself. So now let me try to remove these constructors, and let me try to annotate the all argument and no argument constructor and the getter setter and the toString as well. So let me try to remove this code, and here you can see we have used the Lombok, so directly we can use these annotations. Okay, so everything is covered now. So it has generated this four columns: ID, first name, last name, and email. Okay, now let me try to ask him to create a repository for us. So let me go down, create a student repo for above project. Okay, so it is started explaining and then creating those things. So you can see it is directly using the JPA repository and have created the repository for us, and it is also explaining what it look like. So let me copy this code, and then let me go to the IntelliJ, and let me create one repo here. So let's say the package name is repo, and the interface name is student repository. Student repository. Okay, now let me paste it out, and you need to include this student class here. So we need to import this class. So we are good with the development of the repository class, repository interface. Now let me ask Chat GPT to create the uh, service interface. So create student service interface for our project. Okay, let's see what is coding. So it has started. So you can see it has created the find all, find by ID, save, delete. So it has created the CRUD for us. and it has not generated the update one we can ask it to generate, but for now let it be like this only. Okay, so let me copy this and let me go to the IntelliJ. Now create one service repo, sorry, service, and then let me create one interface student service. Okay, add this and let me paste it out here. We need to include the student here. So we are good now. Now let me try to ask it to create the student service IMPL class. So create student service IMPL class for above project, and then we'll ask for the controller. So you can see it has started. Okay, so you can see it has implemented the student service. It has created one class student service IMPL, and then it is overriding all the methods that it had created. Okay, so let it create, and then explanation starts. So let me copy this code, go to the IntelliJ, and then let me try to create one IMPL package here inside the service. Okay, let me try to create one student service IMPL class, student service IMPL, add this and then paste the code. Now we need to import these classes here and interfaces. So let's say import it. We need to import the student as well. So we are good now. Now let me try to ask Chat GPT to create the student controller. Okay, create student controller for our project. Okay, so it is started doing that. So you can see it has created the student controller class. It annotated the REST controller request mapping and provide some class level mapping as well. It started creating the get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, but it has not created the update one, right? So we'll remove this, delete mapping, and done. Okay, so let me copy this code, go to the IntelliJ, and then create one controller package and then class controller dot student controller. Okay, let me, I thought it will create one class. Let me try to refactor this. Student controller. We need to create the class student controller here. So let me try to create the student controller, add this, and then paste out the code here. We need to import some classes and some interfaces here. So let me try to import the class. Okay, done. Now let me try to remove this or okay. So let it be like this. So it has created everything for us. Now what we need to do, we need to generate the configuration for the application properties file so that we can uh, connect with our database. So let me ask that. So create application properties configuration, file configuration for database connectivity, something like that. Okay, so it has started doing that. it has by default considered the MySQL database. So in our case, it is MySQL as well. So let's copy this, go to the IntelliJ, and you need to go to the application properties file, paste it out here, and you can see it has by default taken the my database as a database. Okay, and it has generated the username and the password and this thing as well. So let me try to change the password. You can update your own password, and here you need to provide the database name. So let me go to the MySQL and then see my database is there or not in MySQL. So if it is not there, I will create it. So I think it is not there, right? So let me come here to the IntelliJ, copy this my database, and then come here and let me try to create one database here. Okay, apply this and then apply. So it has created one database now. So let me try to select that database. Where is that? My database. So inside the table you can see nothing is there, right? Now let me try to, so we have provided everything. Now let me try to do something. So everything is done, I think, right? So we have created the controller, we have created the student. Everything is we have created, we have did the configuration as well. Now let me try to run this application. So let it run. We have not changed the port, so it will be up on the port number 8080, which is the default port for the Spring Boot. So let it up. You can see by default it has created one table called student, and this is up on the port number 8080. Let me go to the MySQL and let me refresh this table. You can see one table is created with the name student. Okay, so let me come here, let me try to show you if something is there or not. So you can see nothing is there, and it has the fields as ID, email, first name and the last name. Now what I need to do, I need to go to the postman to enter some data here. So let me try to show you how the controller is looking like. So you can see the class level mapping is students, and then for get mapping we need not to do anything. If you are fetching out the student record by ID, you need to provide the ID here as a path variable. For post, nothing is there. For put it, you need to provide the ID to update the record, and then delete, you need to provide the ID. So let me go to the postman and then try to insert something there. Let me change the post, first name, last name, email is there, and let me try to remove this. ID is auto generated, so we are not going to use the ID here. Let me try to send it. So you can see the first record is inserted. Let me go to the database and show you. You can see our first record is inserted here. So it is working fine. Let me insert some other record as well. Let's say Raman. Let me change the mail. Okay. Now let me send it. Second record is also inserted. Now let me try to hit some different APIs. So let's say we are going to hit the find API, sorry, Git API. So this is find all, and you can see we are able to retrieve all the record from the database. You can go to the IntelliJ and see for getting all the record from the database. It is we directly need to go to the get method. Okay, and we need to hit this API localhost and then student. So put is working fine, sorry, post is working fine, get is working fine. Now let me try to hit this API get by ID. So come here, let me provide the ID here, and you can see we are able to fetch it out. So both get are working, post is working. Now let me try to delete some details. So in the case of delete, you need to provide the ID. Okay, so come here, change the method type to get delete, and then you need to provide the ID. So let me delete the second record. So you can see it is deleted. Let me try to fetch all records. Okay. Okay, let me try to remove this. So you can see we are able to get only one record. Let me also show you from the database side. So we have only one record here. So everything is working fine. So we have not coded a single line, and we have created one Spring Boot CRUD project with the help of ChatGPT, right? So this is very awesome. So you can use ChatGPT to increase your productivity, and if debugging is required, if some changes are required, so the developer is there, right? So it is not going to replace the developer. You can also go to the ChatGPT and ask, hi ChatGPT, are you going to replace developer? Okay, so let's say what is the answer of ChatGPT. You can see it is saying, as a language model, my main goal is to assist the developer with their task by providing the relevant information and examples. I can help with the tasks such as generating code, providing explanation, and troubleshooting, but I am not a substitute for the human developer, right? So we don't have any danger as of ChatGPT. It is going to help us to increase our productivity only. So this is about this video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.